Transitioning to the Lakers, I'm going to touch a little bit more on the Russell Westbrook signing on Wednesday. I didn't want to talk about it too much today because there were so many other big storylines for me that I want to discuss. But I will say this. It is interesting how, obviously, when you've got LeBron James, the priority shifts to trading and acquiring veteran players. That's something that's been consistent with all LeBron teams. He wants veteran, proven, seasoned, and experienced guys on his team. And so that's why right now the Lakers are eyeing veteran guys, specifically Dwight Howard, Carmelo Anthony, and Andre Iguodala. Those are the notable free agents, at least, or at least trade pieces that the Lakers are targeting at this point as we begin free agency on a Monday. So when we think about the Lakers, first of all, this is a team that shot 30% from the three-point line in the postseason, 35% from the three-point line in the regular season, but their postseason production from beyond the three-point line was 15th out of 16 teams, 21st in the NBA. So we know what the glaring and obvious deficiencies are of this roster. We know that. It's been easy to chronicle. It's been easy to see from day one. For several years now, that's been the biggest problem. And so the three major problems for the Lakers, one that we just talked about is the three-point shot, is shooting beyond the three-point line, right? Is floor spacing. But two is playmaking, having a playmaker there to reduce the role and the burden for LeBron James to have to create for everyone else. That's two. And number three is having a little bit more depth, having a little bit more of a bench. So when we analyze all three of these potential targets, let's take a look first at Dwight Howard. So Dwight Howard, sure, he was a defensive anchor for the Lakers as a backup center when they won the NBA title. And to be honest, he was actually pretty important for the Lakers, kind of anchoring them a bit defensively with his length, disrupting shots, physical, getting in opponents' faces, eliciting technical fouls. That's what he was there to do. But the reality is, now that the Lakers have acquired Russell Westbrook, it's been reported that Anthony Davis is now more willing to play the center spot, at least for more minutes, for a larger bulk of the season and during games, which means that his role as a Dwight Howard defensive anchor, that's going to be limited. And so Dwight Howard no longer is the priority. The Lakers' defense was never the problem. It wasn't the problem this year. They ranked second defensively. It wasn't the problem last year when they won the NBA title. Obviously, he played a role. So defensively is where the Dwight Howard signing would have been beneficial. And while I'll take him back, begrudgingly, I'll take him back, that's not the number one priority. So Dwight Howard doesn't need to be the main targeted guy. So really, ironically, I can't believe it's come down to this, that I'm actually about to say this, but ironically, this decision comes down to Carmelo Anthony, who's a 37-year-old guy, and Andre Iguodala, who appears to be on his last legs. And the interesting thing is, between those two guys, the best fit and a perfect fit is Carmelo Anthony, which is a guy that we have ridiculed for his inability to shoot the three-point shot, and yet this year shot a career-high 41% from the three-point line in 24 minutes, averaging 13 points per game. And when we think about these two guys, let's also take a minute to say, okay, I laid out the three deficiencies on this team: the playmaking, three-point shooting, depth. Well, by signing Russell Westbrook, you've addressed the playmaking. And you've addressed a guy that can go out and carry the load for LeBron during regular season nights, during stretches of games. And now the focus and the onus doesn't solely shift onto LeBron to create for everyone else. Because even last year, as much as Dennis Schroeder at times showed some potential to create for himself and others, everything revolved around LeBron. And that's where he's had the most success everywhere he's gone, was in positions, was in situations where he was the focal point and he was setting up the offense. But he's entering his 19th season. He's entering the 19th year in the NBA. He can't be asked to do that. And so Russell Westbrook will take care of the playmaking duties. And in a way, he also kind of contributes to the depth and the bench, because now LeBron and Anthony Davis will probably have a little bit more energy and will be able to play larger chunks of minutes down the stretches of games, because you can rely on Westbrook to be able to carry the team a little bit more. So now LeBron and AD aren't asked to do as much. You've got a third guy to come in and be able to propel the team. It's like adding an additional turbine to a great gust of wind. That's what Russell Westbrook is. He is the ultimate turbine to a great gust of wind. And so that's what the Lakers are getting. So you're getting some playmaking, you're getting some depth, because now that's one less person that you need to contribute to the offense. And so really it's only, okay, the shooting. That's the biggest area that they need to address. And so that's why, as much as I love Andre Iguodala, and I have a lot of respect for Andre Iguodala, I think that he has an argument to be in the Hall of Fame. Not that I necessarily would vote him into the Hall of Fame, but he's got a compelling case. Obviously, LeBron respects him. The players would respect him. He's an NBA champion. He's an NBA Finals MVP. He hits clutch three-pointers. He's extremely smart and intelligent. So he can create his own shot. He can spot up. He's a defensive stopper. He's an athletic, long wing. So there's no question he would be a valuable asset to the Lakers, but he doesn't shoot it nearly as well or as efficiently as a guy like Carmelo Anthony, who, as I said, even at age 37, even after all the trials and tribulations, remember the times when he was linked to the Lakers with Kobe over a decade ago, that never materialized. And now this is a perfect situation for him because, again, he can serve so many roles for this Lakers team. He can be the sixth man of the year. He can provide that scoring punch off the bench to provide that depth, just like the Lakers would need. So when LeBron and Russell Westbrook or AD get a little reprieve, Carmelo Anthony can drop 13 points like he did last year in 24 minutes on 41% shooting from the three-point line. And think about how many good looks he would get playing alongside LeBron. And that's the other unspoken, kind of intangible trait that could make this such a harmonious match, is because you know how motivated he would be to play with LeBron, to play alongside LeBron. They've been lifelong friends. He's never actually played with LeBron James. That's something he's wanted to do. And now you'd have an opportunity to do it. I know he feels indebted to the Portland Trail Blazers in a way for resurrecting his career and giving him an opportunity. So I'm sure he would love to flourish there, which he's already done, and stay committed and loyal to Dame Lillard. But an opportunity to play with LeBron and the Lakers comes knocking on the door. Do you want to live in Portland or LA, which he already has multiple houses here anyway? I think it'd be a great fit. I think it'd absolutely be a great fit. And that's the guy. So of those three guys, listen, Lakers are in a win now mentality. And I think Carmelo Anthony actually would be a huge, huge chip to bring in, an absolute blue chip type of player to bring in. And I'll be curious to see if they can pull that off.